right. Welcome back. I'm going to go sit down because it's all downhill from there. I can't tell you guys how much my heart is brimming with happiness just being here with all of you tonight. I'm super glad that y'all made the time to be here. I've already enjoyed myself enormously, and I hope you have too. And I hope I can remember how to do this. We have a number of folks who've signed up to show us nifty stuff tonight, and so I want to get into that right away. First off, we've got Tim Hall, who would like to show us wood-turned miniatures.
So, I've been teaching a wood turning class here a couple of times. A few people may have taken it already, but I decided that I'd show off a little bit in person since we actually were doing this for the first time. So, in this little tiny pill bottle, I actually have 4 different wood turnings. Actually, let me move this out so you can just see them against the light. So these are made from a pin blank that was roughly 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch in diameter. And I turned them all off of the same one. That's why they're this neat color wood that you can sort of see. But they've got a really fun pattern in them. And I had seen some people who had done this before. One of them was at the Woodcraft Woodturners Club many, many years ago whenever I was a member of that. And he made these things that were just microscopically small back when I was still turning like 4-inch bowls, and I was thinking, how in the world did he do that? And then over the years, I've learned how to make the really, really small stuff too, but this is the first time I've ever made anything this small. This is actually smaller than a dime. So, yeah, you would use, actually I use the giant normal ones that I've got, but I hollowed out the goblets and everything else with them. There's a guy that I found online, he actually made a goblet similar to this, but the head of it was so small he had to use a toothpick to sand the inside of the goblet. And then he turned the stem smaller than the diameter of the toothpick. He held it up next to it and showed it. You know, the soldering magnifying glasses that a lot of people wear, he had to use those in order to do the wood turning because it was so small he couldn't see it. And he had to make his own custom tool, which was actually a hex bit from just one of those Allen key sets that he sharpened the tip of so that he could make this thing. And it was one of just like hairline size. I mean, it was unreal. But I was like, well, I've made some really small ornaments, so I might as well give my shot and see if I can actually do any of this. And it came out pretty good. So I'll stick these in here and we can pass them around.
From the top view, I thought you'd made 4 really beautiful discs. Much more impressive in the profile. Next up, we've got JB, who has got a plaque that he's going to show us.
Okay, we are fans of the Lady Ball softball team. We enjoy watching them play ball, and I've decided to make a plaque with, I made this plaque with every member's name and where they come from, where their home is, and what their number are of the team, and all the coaches and everything. Now, I laid this thing out to try to figure out how to make this thing, and I had this bear, and I thought, well, you know, I thought it turned out pretty good. Well, I didn't know, I had the idea of what to do, and I told my brother-in-law, Tony Baker, and he done it. So he's the one that done it. You know, I just had an idea, but I've been working on it for about a year, and several people here has helped us over the years. You know, we've just, when I run into something, something we need to know, we went for help with y'all out there. So I was well pleased with the way it turned out. Thank you. Okay.
For you new folks in the audience, I think that's absolutely one of the best things about this joint. You get stuck on a project, you know, not sure how to move forward, doesn't seem to be going well. You reach out to the community, and boy, pretty consistently, you'll just be inundated with great ideas and offers for help. I really love that about this. Next up, we've got Bob, who's got a Wi-Fi sign to show to us.
Well, I was really excited about the possibility of laser printing, and I wanted to learn as much as I could, and you know, more and more. And I started in on Inkscape, and I hated it. So I looked for an alternative, and that was Lightburn. And they had a 30-day trial, and so I started learning, and that actually fit the way I think a lot better. And so one of the things was a Wi-Fi sign. And so I started to build it, and this is just a trial to see how to do it. But I ended up doing it in Inkscape, because the new Inkscape is really pretty slick. So, but anyway, the thing that I've got to do is I got to do better on the hatching, and I use the extension to the Inkscape hatch, but I got to put some parameters in there and squeeze it together a little bit darker. So, pardon? Yes. Well, it sort of recognized it, but what's really cool is that this QR code will actually set your... Oh, don't copy it. No. So when a guest comes to your house and says, well, what's your Wi-Fi code, right? You hand them the plaque. Here, just scan this. And it will actually go in and join the network and put in the code and everything. So that's it.
I definitely think Inkscape is what you might call an acquired taste, but it is super powerful, and of course it is necessary more or less for using our laser and our CNC, and we've got several experts here that are happy to help, so awesome that you got there. It's it's okay. The price is definitely right. Next up, we've got Amos, who's going to show us leaves.
Howdy guys. So I've just been getting into blacksmithing, and this is my project that I've just been trying to make tons of to get hammer control. Not a whole lot to show here, but you just kind of bring out a taper, kind of like you're making a nail. You bring out a taper, elongate it for the tail here, curl it around, get my keychain out of the way, curl it around, and then you flatten out a piece of bar, put in some cold cut like grooves to make the leaf marks, and then just grind the crap out of it with an angle grinder to shine it up. The other cool thing is I made some keychains for tonight's event. I've got like 12 of them. You can't see it here. Well, you can kind of, but they have the Knox Makers initials. So if anybody wants one, come see me afterwards.
What size bar did you start?
Honestly, not sure. It's probably like 1/2 inch, about yay big, if that makes sense. So yeah, and then just like I said, hammer it, and it'll flatten out. So.
How did you get the leaf shape? Did you have to grind that down?
No, actually, so I used the concaved end of I used the curved end of the hammer to just flatten out, and then rotated the hammer as I hit it, and it made kind of a leaf shape. I do run it through the grinder to clean it up some, but that shape is kind of how it comes out of the forge. Any other questions?
Can you do a class on this?
I can. It takes about an hour to make one.
You got one person
Cool. All right.
We got classes coming together already. This is dynamite. Next up, we've got Connie, who's going to show us a hat.
And of course, it couldn't be a normal hat because it's me. I give this credit to DDH, Dear Darling Husband, and DDS, Dear Darling Sons, because all of them love reenacting and steampunk and challenging me to say, Mama, I want, can you make it? So for Christmas, this last Christmas, I made an aviator hat for my husband, which he very much does like. And I will pass it around. It has a little bit of white on it because he was trying to waterproof it. And as soon as the DDSs saw it, I have orders for more, so I made them buy me a riveter because I about killed my hands on the rivets on this one. And I also have orders, and hopefully in the not too distant future when the Kevlar comes in, I will have the spats made because one of my sons ordered that because he has an Indian motorcycle and decided it would be really cool to be able to take off his helmet and have this on and have the spats. Okay? And the thing of it is hand sewn. Cutting out the leather was a bit of a challenge, but after you do it the first time, it gets a whole lot easier. Okay? I'll send this around. Thank you.
That looks great. Thanks, Connie. Next up, we've got Brian. He's going to show off his new toolbox.
When I first got here, is this one working? Everyone hear me? Yeah? I built a toolbox and since then have acquired more tools and am using them in very different ways, which facilitated or necessitated a new toolbox. So I've been keeping scrap material for a while. So this is made out of, what is it? Cherry, ash, padauk, ebony, hickory, and plywood. I have it set up so this part here, the top is really what I take out and put on the bench while I'm actually working. So it's got everything like my hand planes, my sharpening sets, you know, all the stuff that you would use normally. This bigger part down here has the stuff that I use less often or it just doesn't need to be out all the time. So coping saw, potato stacks, leather strop. The bottom of this is kind of neat. The whole thing is held together with no fasteners and no glue. It's all put together with hand-cut dovetails and opposing sliding dovetails. So these two pieces on the top have to be knocked out before you can take the box apart. This is kind of nice because I anticipate needing to change it in the future. Also recently took the laser class, so I put some cool little racing stripes and the name on this thing, so I can't forget it's mine. And I plan to be putting together a dovetail class in the near future, near as in this summer at some point. So be looking for that. Otherwise, that's my new toolbox.
Brian, would you have that maybe on the sauce cup so we can take a closer look at it later?
Yes, yep, I'll set it up.
Thank you, Brian. Is your toolbox contest still ongoing, or did you close that?
I've not closed it. I don't remember when I said it would stop, but if you want to make a toolbox, you totally should.
And what are the stakes?
Oh, anyone who wins, quote unquote, wins the toolbox competition will receive a hand tool that I have rehabbed for you. So,
Pretty cool. Okay, next up we've got Sean, who's going to show off his ketchup caviar.
Yes, as some of you may have seen out there on the table, this strange ketchup caviar, as I call it. It is just plain ketchup, but it has been spherified. Spherification is a process in molecular gastronomy, which is just a fancy word of saying applying basic chemistry to food. But what I did with this was I had about, I got some Five Guys the other day, and they gave me about 100 ketchup packets in the bag. So I had just lots of excess ketchup. And so I just cut open all of them, and it ended up being about 2/3 of a cup, and mix that with a little bit of water it down. Then you add agar, I believe it's pronounced agar powder, which is derived from algae. And it's basically you mix it into the ketchup and then get it nice and warm, and then you take a pipette or a syringe or something and you drop it into a dish of cold vegetable oil. And then when this mixture hits the oil, especially if you're dropping it from a high height, it forms into a bead shape, and it hits the oil and forms this sort of skin around it. And so that's how you can have these individual pearls of ketchup. I'm just going to eat these, so don't worry about that. I'm just sticking my fingers directly into them. But yeah, and it just makes plain old ketchup, and you have solid ketchup, and you can make these weird constructions out of it. And basically, I tried to do it with mustard, and I think I added too much water because it was too thin, and I think the oil was too warm because it turned into a nice spaghetti shape, but then when I went to go and scoop it out, it just completely disintegrated. So I just have a big bowl of watery mustard at home waiting for me to clean up. So, all right, thank you.
In all sincerity, Sean, thank you for making it weird. That is odd. Closing us down tonight, we've got Rose, who's going to show off a hand-woven scarf and hand-thrown pottery.
Hi, y'all. It's a bit of a departure. It's not made out of wood. Well, actually, it's probably made out of bamboo. This is tencel, which is, it's a plant fiber that's processed like rayon. I have quite a few there. You can see the different colors. I weave these on an 8-shaft baby wolf loom. It's a folding loom, so it fits in my house. And it weaves 29-inch width, which means I can do dish towels, and narrower. I also make pottery. This I've been doing a lot longer. Here we go. This was made 3 weeks ago. I just got my studio set back up again. I find that Knox Makers has replaced my garage. I sold my house and got rid of my bandsaw, my drill press, and all my other tools, so now I have to come here. And thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Very nice. Thank you, Rose. So that concludes our show and share this evening. It's really wild to be back in person doing this again. Let's do it again next Tuesday. Bring your stuff. Bring successes, bring failures, bring projects in progress. Tell us about your cool techniques. Tell us about whatever Sean's trying to say. Yes. Our usual time to start show and share is 7 p.m. We did it with a later schedule this evening so that we could stuff our faces with delicious grilled meats. But we're back on regular times, 7 p.m. starting next Tuesday and every Tuesday following that one. And now, with the greatest of pleasure, let's go out in the workshop and enjoy ourselves and enjoy each other's company. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight.